detective lampshade as I shed light on the perpetrators. Today, my partner and I will be solving... Wait, am I still a junior detective?
You've been promoted. Congratulations.
I'm partner now?
You've been promoted.
My first case as senior detective, as partner to this detective firm. I'm like that guy from Suits. I will be solving the Decagon House Murders.
We've handed over some of the detective work this time to our elite employee, Detective Renaud. We do not know so far if this is a good idea or not.
So I've been reading some of this book, so we'll see if we can even come close to solving it. Kind of just hand the book back to her when my head starts hurting and when it looks like that scene's from SpongeBob. Insert it.
Which
right
one?
Here. Either the one where like the gears start turning in Patrick's head or when SpongeBob...
Okay, I was the child who wasn't allowed to watch SpongeBob, so...
Insert clip of
Insert the
SpongeBob.
Detective Renaud has read the first chapter and the prologue so far. Do you want to tell us what you've learned?
So far from the prologue is really where I deduced the most amount of evidence. You find out in the prologue that whoever murders the people that are murdered in this book is a he, and that he does it for revenge.
Okay, but how do you know it's the murderer?
Allow me to read you a riveting section from the Decagon House Murders. He had been suffering for months. He had been brooding for weeks. He had been thinking about just one thing for days. Everything had been planned. Preparations were almost complete. All he needed to do now was wait for them to walk into the trap. And them is in italics, which really conveys a message of emphasis.
Maybe the revenge plot isn't death or murder.
Okay, you know what? Maybe not. But,
okay.
Hold on, I'm still reading. He was going to pronounce judgment on them. All of them. Judgment outside the court of law. Some may say that judgment outside the court of law may be God's judgment. Therefore, he would be sending them to God's domain. Therefore, he'd be killing them.
The Decagon House Murders is heavily inspired by one of Detective Renaud's favorite crime writers, Mrs. Dame Agatha Christie.
She gets a shout out in this book, by the way.
The Decagon House Murders is hugely referential, a very meta
it was the cop.
crime novel, if
it was
you
the
will.
cop.
So heavily inspired by And Then There Were None, which I actually have a video not solving. Didn't solve that one because it was Agatha Christie. But every single character, most characters in the Decagon House Murders are named after famous crime or mystery novel writers. I didn't really get a clear, firm grasp of what you were trying to tell me occurred in the first chapter. If I'm being honest, what I gleaned was that we have 6 university students on this little fishing boat.
Absolutely.
Going to Sujinuma Island. Do they say why in the first chapter?
You know, I don't think so.
Okay, anyway. Okay, so here's our visual of the island. Ooh.
This is the island of Fujinuma that they're going to.
Oh, Sunojima.
Sunojima. As you see here in this picture, there's an island. The island of Sunojima. Oh yeah. It's off the coast of Japan, I believe.
Yeah,
I would
it's in
assume.
Japan.
And the right here is the giant blue mansion. Now, you might be wondering, why is the story called the Decagon House? Well, this blue mansion that you see right here...
No, it's not the mansion. They're 2 separate things.
Oh, they're 2 separate things?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not read well enough.
It's okay.
Anywho,
Yeah,
you go ahead then if you actually understand.
Okay, so on the island there are 2 separate architectural wonders built by the same architect, Nakamura. Remember when we did the Mill House Murders?
Yeah, I see from
It's
that.
the same architect who built the Mill House.
Did he
remember?
write the Mill House?
Yes.
Oh!
Yes, it's the same author.
Oh! Well,
Yeah.
look at that.
I know. On the island there is the Decagon House, which, as it sounds, is literally a house that looks like a giant decagon. He's gone. He's Decagon. Okay, this is why I don't make videos long. Okay, so the Decagon House has, 10 sides. And then... And then there's also the Blue Mansion, which was another wonder because everything in it was blue. However, at this point in our story, the Blue Mansion has burned down to the ground, and all that's left is the Decagon House, and that's where we're set.
So now let's meet our cast. Our cast of kooky characters. They're a part of this mystery club at their university. At their university, there's this thing called the Mystery Club, where obviously,
That sounds so cool.
Yeah?
I would be in that. Would you be in that club?
No, dude. No. Where they all read mystery novels and
they write.
And they write. It's like the Tortured Poet Society, but
yeah, it's very like dark academia.
Yeah, it's
They're
very
all
like
up their own ass though.
In this dark academia mystery group.
I say it like macadamia.
Is that not how you say it?
I say academia.
Academia. Okay, we're getting way off course here. In their mystery club, they all have assigned each other nicknames that are from all the current mystery writers.
Not current, but anyway, famous. Just famous.
Famous. Like Alan Edgar Poe. One of them is
Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar and then Alan. Okay, let's introduce them.
Alright, so Mystery Society. Let's introduce our Mystery Society people.
Mystery Man number 1, Ellery.
I don't know who that is, but...
I didn't either.
Oh, what did he write? Anything interesting?
I don't know.
Because,
look that up.
Maybe their nicknames give us, like, hints and clues.
I know, I feel like they would.
Absolutely. 100%.
Okay. Ellery?
He's tall, he's handsome. I found him quite cocky, egotistical, arrogant, and quite an elitist. He's also a third-year law student, apparently. Didn't know that. And the current editor-in-chief.
Of the Murder Mystery Club's, like, magazine. I wanted to just read this.
Yeah.
Do you know who... Okay, so we have Leroux. Gaston Leroux, if you will. Do you know who this man is?
Did he write something?
Yeah, he did. Okay, he wrote one of my favorite books of all time.
What?
The Phantom of the Opera. Leroux in the Decagon House Murders is just a second-year literature student, but he's very talented and he is going to be the next editor-in-chief of the magazine, so he's going to replace Ellery soon.
Yeah, Ellery didn't seem to think so.
He doesn't seem thrilled about it. Okay, next.
So next we have Poe. From what I read, honestly, I didn't learn much about him other than he was a larger man. He's a fourth-year student in medicine. So that could come in handy when people start dropping like flies.
It could come in unhandy for other people. Next up we have Agatha, and she's very outgoing and she is a third-year pharmacy student.
Next is Carr. He is a law student. Our wonderful Playboy Carr. Almost Playboy Cardi.
He's not really playing though, he's very unsuccessful.
He's made moves on both Agatha and Orczy. So, a bit of a playa. Bit of a Playboy Carr.
Right, and he's been rejected by both of them. So now it's just awkward and...
And he's just in a foul mood, apparently.
Yeah.
And he seems to drink a lot, which... Guys, drinking's not cool, okay? Let's keep the alcohol to a minimum.
I have so much to tell you about this one. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, next up we do have Orczy, Emma Orczy. She's really good at painting. She's very timid and self-conscious. She's been friends with Poe since childhood, and she is an English lit major.
Oh, just like you.
After my own heart.
Lastly, we have Van. Who's Van?
Van Dien. Look at this guy though, he looks cool.
No, who is, like, I haven't met him yet.
Oh, so he was already on the island whenever we showed up.
Why?
I don't know.
That's kind of weird and suspicious. Why was he there? He seems to be suffering from a cold when they arrive. He's a third-year student in science. His uncle is in possession of the island, which, funnily enough, means that the architect's brother sold it to Van's uncle.
Yeah, weird. Which we're going to get into in a second because there's a whole separate murder mystery thing. So let's get into the thick of it.
Into the thick of it?
This is a little bit complicated, so I'm going to let Ben take it. Okay, we have this guy back on the mainland at the same time as everyone shows up at the island, and he gets a letter saying, what does it say? You killed...
Chiori, which is the architect...
His daughter.
The architect's daughter.
The guy on the mainland, whose name is Kawaminami, is like, what the heck is this about? And it says that the letter has gone out to other people, not just a singular person.
Yeah. So Kawanami is in the mystery group, which all these other people... He left. He left because of the death of Chiori, and he has now received a letter among all others in the Mystery Poet Society, or at least he assumes so, letters saying, you murdered my daughter, Chiori. And so he's freaking out, and he's running all over the place to check if the letters got delivered to, everyone else. And of course they did. Okay,
so what happened to Chiori? Let's start there.
Chiori was also a part of the Mystery Club at one point until, unfortunately, she wasn't when she died from an alcohol-induced...
Heart attack.
So
a year ago, there was a New Year's party of the mystery club, and she was apparently drinking a lot, got acute alcohol poisoning, and dropped dead from a heart attack. But now there's letters going around from Nakamura, which is a dead man, because Nakamura, her father, is also dead, which we'll get to in a second.
This is such a mixed match shit show going on right now.
I know. The thing, though, with our guys on the island, you know how they were talking about how she had acute alcohol poisoning? Carr drinks a ton of alcohol, and him and Poe had a conversation in the forest talking about, Poe was like, hey, you shouldn't drink that much, like, it's not good for you. Carr laughs it off, and Poe is like, no, but seriously, like, remember that thing from last year?
Oh.
And Carr's like, oh, you're still thinking about that? ... Really weird that Nakamura, Chiori's father, wasn't at her funeral.
Okay, so I'm going to do a quick synopsis and rundown of exactly what's happening. You have New Year's Eve, a year and a half ago, or more. Chiori dies, which is Nakamura's daughter. Then, they go to her funeral. And while at her funeral, Kawanami notices that her father is not there, only her grandfather. In the autumn of this year, like last year, so after her funeral and stuff, apparently Nakamura dies. How does he die?
Okay, so let's get into the quadruple murder. They were all in the Blue Mansion, and this is like the thing. We have the island, we have the Decagon House, which is the present thing where people are going to start dropping dead, and then we have the Blue Mansion where a quadruple murder happened. In the Blue Mansion, 4 people were found dead: Nakamura, Nakamura's wife, and 2 servants. Sleeping drugs were found in all 4 of the victims. The servants had been tied with rope in their own rooms, and then they had their heads smashed in with an axe. Nakamura himself was doused with kerosene, and then he was burned to death. And then his wife was also found in the same room as him. She was strangled with something, and her left hand was cut off at her wrist. Her hand was never found, and then the building burnt down, and everything was destroyed in the fire. The only other thing from this incident is that there was a gardener on the premises who disappeared, and he's never been found.
So, the only thing I really have to say about this, well, 2 things. This
Why
is
does this guy keep
messed
writing
up.
stuff
Messed
with, like,
up.
Yeah, this is messed up.
Don't like this. This
Why?
is whack. This guy is writing, like, messed up murders, brother. What is with him and, like, fire and body parts missing?
That's
like, last
thing.
time it was the furnace and the finger.
That's his thing. The furnace. It should have been called the furnace and the finger.
So after he's apparently burned while dead, in the autumn, his brother... What's his brother's name?
Kojiro?
His brother Kojiro has to identify the body. And now we skip to present day. Kawanami has received this letter saying...
it's Kawaminami.
Kawaminami
Good.
has received this letter saying that he has... you have all killed my daughter. How can a dead man be sending these letters? He finds out that they're all headed to that island today. And so he freaks the hell out, and then he goes to see Nakamura's brother. Nakamura's supposed to be dead.
That's where we are now.
Yes.
And you know who we just met because I started this chapter. It's my chapter now.
I still haven't caught up yet.
Oh, sorry.
There's one more key information.
Okay,
You forget about
excited.
You forget about the second letter? He goes to Nakamura's brother's house and finds out that he had received a letter, also from Nakamura, to say Chiori was murdered.
This is everyone's rooms in the main Decagon house in the main hall.
Wait.
This would be a confusing ass building to be in.
How would you know which one's yours?
Exactly. They're asking for someone to put nameplates on them, but people have already remarked that, like, I don't know where I am. Like, you step into the building, you're immediately like, where the fuck am I?
Yeah. Did it say why they were there or anything?
Oh, because it's like a murder mystery club retreat. And they know about the Blue Mansion murder that happened a year ago. And they're like,
who set it up?
Ooh. I don't know.
Oh, we didn't find out, eh?
I don't know. We'll see you soon.
Ah, bonjour. This is Detective Renault. What is the case? We're on day 2 of the case of the Decagon House Murders, and we've unfortunately had to resort to coffee to keep us awake. We need mental stimulants.
I have read, we're more than halfway through this book now. By we, I mean me. This has gotten so weird and effed up, and I have to tell you so much stuff. We're gonna try our best to work this chronologically, because there are 3 murder timelines, right? You remember?
No.
You remember them. We did this last night. Let's start with Chiori's death.
Okay.
Because we've learned some new things about our girl. She was also a literature student, and you knew that the club, like, made her drink.
Yes.
They were, like, making her drink the night that she died from
alcohol poisoning.
Acute
alcohol poisoning.
Okay, cool. So that's kind of all we know there. The other thing we learned about her is that Orksy was her like best friend. They were very close, and Orixie kind of considered Chiori her only friend, basically. So I think Orixie was the most upset when she died. Okay, cool. That's our only little update there, which we'll get to in a second. The next thing that is absolutely huge is the second murder, the quadruple murder. Remember?
Oh, at the Blue Mansion?
Yes, the Blue Mansion murder, which occurred shortly after.
Nakamura?
Yes.
That occurred in autumn of the same year?
Exactly. So Chiori's father and her mother and the 2 servants, and then the gardener who's effed off, and we don't know where he is.
Why is it always the gardeners?
2 servants who had their heads smashed in, they died the day before the fire started on the 19th of September. His wife, Kazue, died sometime between the 18th and the 19th. Remember her hand was cut off?
Yeah, mysteriously.
And then Seiji was the last one alive, reportedly, and his estimated death is the morning of the fire on the 20th. Fire started in the kitchen, and then it devoured the rest of the house. However, the gardener didn't really have an escape route because the only boat on the island was found on the island. So no one ever took it to leave the
gardener disappeared.
Island. Yeah.
So did he swim?
No, that was like impossible.
So he's on the island.
Yeah. Okay, so remember Kojiro?
Yeah, his brother.
Yeah, Nakamura's brother.
Yep.
He had an alibi for the night of the fire. He was literally staying with like our detective man, Detective Shimada.
Oh,
like, the
yes,
character.
Our good buddy Shimada.
Yeah, so fun. But Shimada starts to put forward this theory that you and I kind of guessed last time with the last book.
Okay.
Because the gardener who disappeared and Nakamura were both 46 years old. They were both of medium height, and they both had blood type A. So Shimada thinks that Nakamura potentially swapped places with the gardener. And that it was actually the gardener who was found burnt alive. And then in that theory, Nakamura would still be on the island. Somewhere. Yeah. Really weird things, okay? It starts to get effed up. So we know that Kojiro and Nakamura, the 2 brothers, did not get along. Anyway.
Wait, so they had beef, but he inherited Nakamura's property?
Yeah.
That's weird. Why was it in his will?
The beef, and that Kojiro omits to that, so I'll just like skip all of the, exposition. Kojiro was having an affair with Nakamura's wife.
Oh boy.
And Chiori was actually Kojiro's daughter. Not Nakamura's daughter. It turns out that Kojiro knew that the fires and everything, the quadruple murder was going to happen because his brother phoned him the night before he murdered everyone, and he's like, yo, this is what I'm going to do. You can't stop me. And then, Kazue's hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hand was sent, like, mailed to Kojiro because Nakamura was, like, obviously very jealous and possessive, and he's like, I'm going to do a forced quadruple suicide, actually.
The prologue is from Nakamura's point of view, but not before the Mystery Club gets the island.
Oh,
before the murders.
Time.
Yeah, before the Blue Mansion murders.
Oh. The other thing with Kojiro is that he planted this tree in his garden the year that his daughter was born to I guess symbolize his missing daughter or whatever. And Shimada's like, yo, what did you do with the hand? He straight up buried the hand under the tree like any normal person would do. Weird things. What are your thoughts so far?
My thoughts so far are Nakamura's definitely hiding on the island.
You don't think he's dead?
There's no chance. We have all this disposition and
disposition.
What the hell does disposition mean?
Your mood, your personality. Are you looking for exposition?
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 What is exposition?
Like build up and details?
So all this exposition about he's got all the same, qualities as the gardener,
right?
And then magically the gardener's not there,
right? But how would he have survived on the island?
Maybe he's been taking that boat back and forth to the mainland, and
no one has noticed this. Okay, so what does this mean for our future Dark Macadamia Club?
It means that my first theory is probably going to turn out correct, and that Nakamura has somehow gotten them to come all out there that he can get revenge.
Remember, but why does he want revenge? We've just learned that Chiori isn't his daughter. Chiori was a point of contention in his marriage, and the gardener's wife, when she's interviewed, she's like, Nakamura is not fond, he was not fond of children, so he wasn't even the prime mourner at her funeral.
Then why would he send out that letter?
Well, did he send? I don't think he sent out the letter.
Oh, you know what? New theory. Kojiro
Yeah.
It's his daughter.
Yeah.
So he's gonna put Nakamura's name on it to
I know,
avoid the blame.
he's in hot water right now.
Is he?
Because he has all the motive. He lost his potential lover and his daughter.
That's crazy. He knows his brother is crafty and probably still alive on that island, so he's gonna try and blame him for the murder of it.
I think the Nakamura still alive thing is dumb. I think this author is smarter than to like pull that twice.
Trick.
Okay, let me just tell you the tea on Decagon House.
Okay, let's get some tea.
So, while we've been away, here's what has happened. Day 2 on the island, sorry. We're all effing about doing whatever. They go to bed, they wake up for their first full day on the island. Orxie wakes up at 8 a.m. to discover all these like creepy nameplates on the table that like are very ornate and say victim 1, victim 2, victim 3, the last victim, the detective, and the murderer. They find this, everyone's freaked out, no one admits to it, they all think it's like a practical joke at this point. Van, who was the first one on the island.
He was there before them, right?
Yeah, exactly. He was there before them.
Was he part of the mystery club?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
They all are. He seems to be getting sicker. His fever is much higher. And then that day, Van and Carr go to bed early, and Agatha goes to bed at 3 a.m. Which brings us to day 3. Oh, someone's dead. Who do you think is dead?
I really hope it's Ellery.
No, it's Orxie. Agatha wakes up at noon, and she sees the first victim sign hanging from Orxie's room. Poe runs in, he opens the door, and he's like, oh my gosh, she's been strangled. Remember he's the medical student?
Oh, right, okay.
He doesn't let anyone else see her body out of respect for
yeah, that's kind of weird.
her. She was apparently strangled with a nylon cord. There wasn't any sign of struggle. Her body was like left in a dignified pose, so she was just like laying in bed chilling.
Nice. Wow.
And her left hand had been
sliced off.
Cut off. With a kitchen knife. But the thing is that like all of this is told to us by Poe, and no one else sees the body. Later that night, they're all bickering around coffee. Remember our friend Carr, who's kind of the alcoholic of the group?
Yep.
He's
absolutely.
very angry all the time. He's like, yo, Agatha. Agatha has been just being mistreated, man. All she does on this island is
get
cook,
shit on,
make coffee, and do the dishes for everyone.
Damn.
That's it. He's like, go get me some coffee. She comes back with coffee for everyone. He drinks his coffee, he starts vomiting, collapses, and then he later dies in his room at 2 a.m. in the morning. You're doing so much!
So he got poisoned.
He got poisoned. So
was it by the coffee, though?
We don't know. Once again, Poe, our only medical man on the island.
Medical man.
He's like, the poison is either likely strychnine. Is it strychnine? Strychnine. So Carr took his coffee black, so the poison I guess wasn't in the milk or sugar. Agatha was the one who prepared the coffee, but she's like, yo, I did not do that at all. LaRue says that he like watched Agatha prepare the coffee the whole time and he didn't see her do anything sus. Ellery was the first one to grab for the tray and like take a cup. Ellery is also an amateur magician.
Wicked! Oh my goodness.
He's been doing card tricks the whole time. Like, no one is taking this shit seriously. Why does no one take it seriously? Like, people
I personally would have left the island.
Like, this guy's like, David Blaine, pick a card.
Hey, fellas.
No, David Blaine, no.
How long do those things take to set in? Go search it up.
And how do people, like, don't know, like, was it meant for Carr, or was it just in any cup, and anyone could have taken it?
I don't know. Go search up how long both of those take to set in.
The FBI is gonna be like, what are you doing? We want to know your location. 15 to 60 minutes.
For the strychnine?
Mm-hmm.
And what about how long does arsenic take?
Arsenic? Less than an hour.
After exposure? It had to be taken pretty recently.
But that's not the only thing that happens to our dear Carr.
Okay.
LaRue the next day wakes up at 3 p.m. Everyone else is already awake. The victim number 2 sign has been placed on Carr's door, which is weird because everyone put the like actual original signs in the kitchen drawer and they're like, no one freaking touched those. Turns out whoever the murderer is has a spare.
Was it not taken out of the kitchen drawer?
No. They have duplicates.
Actually?
Prepared.
Damn.
Poe finds Carr's left hand in the bathtub.
Okay, sure, dude.
Scrub-a-dub-dub. Must have been cut off in the night, I guess, after he died. So
yeah.
someone went in his room.
Cut off his hand. Why'd they leave his body in his room, bro? What are these kids doing?
Where else are you supposed to put it?
Call the cops? Get off the island?
They can't. They have no cell service. How are they gonna leave?
They're all just fine sleeping in their own rooms at night, or...
I don't get people in this situation. If, like, you're in a group, I'm like, we are all staying in the same room. No one is leaving.
We're all staying awake.
At all.
No lights off. We're all gonna sit in a circle and hold hands the whole night.
Literally. Well, can't hold Carr's hand. Just the hand.
Just the
actually.
right.
What is with the hand thing? Like
Nakamura, bro.
no. It's like the reasoning. What is the symbolism behind taking someone's left hand?
That's where you put a wedding ring.
It's a wedding ring.
Nakamura got cheated on by his wife. He's like, all right, you adulterous woman.
What is the
Left hand on the book cover. That's crazy.
If a hand has 5 fingers, and the Decagon House has 10 sides.
I don't know what you're doing, but stop.
Okay. Last thing is that on day 4 they leave handless, one-handed Orcsy and one-handed Car in the Decagon House, and they go out to explore the island because they have also come to the conclusion that Nakamura must be hiding on the island. They go to the ruins of the Blue Mansion, and Ellery conveniently finds a hidden basement room in the ruins.
Oh, Nakamura.
Of the Blue Mansion. He falls down the stairs, he sprains his ankle because there was like a...
Wait, who?
Ellery.
Oh.
There was a tripwire, like the room was booby-trapped.
I was ready.
And there's like nothing in the room, but one patch of the dirty floor has been cleared. Ellery sprains his ankle tripping over fishing wire.
Okay.
It's Poe's fishing wire because
What?
Poe wanted to go fishing.
So why did Poe booby trap this?
No, he didn't. He was like, oh, I left my fishing stuff in the entrance of the Decagon House, which is unlocked all the time because the lock's broken.
Of course.
So he's like, someone must have taken it.
The murderer.
Agatha at this point loses
down.
it.
Just going
she loses
cranky.
it, which is fair. Like, whatever. Everyone tries to calm her down, and they're like, yo, you should like take my sleeping pills because Poe has a bunch of sleeping pills with him. So she takes a sleeping pill, Poe takes a sleeping pill. Everyone takes a sleeping pill on the 4th night except for Ellery. Why are these people so stupid? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts? I think my thoughts are still on Nakamura being the murderer and living on this island, and and either in the ruins of the Blue Mansion or the Decagon House.
It doesn't have the umami for me. Everyone
could be.
keeps saying it, and so I just don't think it's like a...
It's pointing
as
to
part
it
of
too
the
much.
novel, I think it's too much. The people who have the most motive for killing the Dark Academia Club,
Or
the Mystery Club,
Kojiro.
Kojiro and Orcsy, because they were the closest to Chiori. The other weird thing that I'm like, it's Kojiro, like this guy's lost his mind, I just think it's him.
Because he buried a fucking hand underneath his tree.
We read about him in the text when Shimada and Kawaminami go to his house, but after that point he's not present on the page, and we don't know anything about his whereabouts when the murders start happening on the island.
Okay.
And then when Shimada goes to his house to ask him something on like the day of Orcsy's murder, he knocks on the door, the lights are on in the house, but no one answers.
Okay, so maybe he snuck off to the island.
He's not at home. And then on the 4th day, when the stuff happens on the island but no one dying, right? Like Ellery just sprained his ankle, he's again found at home, and he's like, oh, sorry, a couple days ago, like I was just working really hard on a thesis and didn't want to answer the door.
I feel like we definitely have some more detecting to do, and I'm sure something will pop up. Maybe with one of the deaths.
Like, of the 5 students left, who would you most suspect?
Nakamura.
Okay.
I see, like, I'm leaning to him so heavily. I think I'm definitely wrong.
I think the next person who's gonna drop dead is Van.
Oh, we haven't really heard much about I haven't heard much about him.
He's just sick.
He's just sick still.
Maybe because he's been sleeping in that damp basement.
So everyone, today we are taking our maiden voyage to the island of Tsunojima to do some more detective skills. We're gonna get very hands-on and figure out just what happened. Taking our trip in our boat across the ocean.
Bro.
Ready for our voyage. Let's go get in the ocean and start boating. Tsunojima, here I come. We're gonna find out what happened at the Decagon House, and we're gonna solve this murder.
Oh no! The storm! The storm! Oh no! Your pants are all... Can he do...
Here I go! Well, we made it to Tsunojima, and I think I can start detecting. Let's go find the Decagon House. Oh! it would appear that I'm back in the office. I've just returned from Tsunojima on our 5-day detective trip, and I have concluded that I've found some evidence, and that I think I may know who's our lead suspect.
Ben has read ahead, and he's gonna tell us some key plot points.
So, throughout my readings, I have been introduced to another character. We're introduced to a new gentleman by the name of Morisu. He only intrigued me because he's a key plot point due to the fact that why'd they show up to his house? There were plenty of people who got letters. I suppose he was the only one left in town, but I feel like he might know something.
So he got a letter as well.
Yes,
from Nakamura.
Nakamura. And bang, another murder has happened.
Okay.
So this time, who do you think got murdered? It was one of the women. Oh wait.
Or already dead. So it's Agatha.
Okay, yes. Agatha died. Unfortunately, she wanted to present herself as pretty and demure. So she went to put on her lipstick, and the color she chose this morning, unfortunately, was poisoned.
Her lipstick was poisoned.
Her lipstick was poisoned, yeah. So what's his face and what's his face? Poe and what are their names? Ellery and Poe. Yeah.
Poe, Ellery, Van, and LaRue are the men left.
So LaRue finds her dead in the bathroom and starts freaking out. He rushes to Poe's room. He's like, Poe, oh my goodness, she's dead. So Poe and Ellery both go into the bathroom and they're like, dude, she's dead. What on earth? And they smell this scent of almonds, this prussic acid. Van actually finds her after waking up in the morning.
Okay. And
then Van freaks out and he goes and gets Poe and Ellery, and they determine it's prussic acid based off the smell of almonds. And they go searching around the bathroom and they find her bright red lipstick, which also smells like almonds. And, on this day, she's not the only one murdered. Van, Poe, and Ellery are like, okay, we lost another one. Where's our fourth? Okay, we need to run squads.
LaRue's gone?
Where's LaRue, bro? I believe Ellery finds LaRue absolutely clapped in the garden, okay? He's dead.
How so?
Blunt force trauma. Two and one. Like, my question is, how are you getting from the garden to the house? I guess you could have planted the
lipstick?
Yeah.
Okay, so how many people do we have left?
We have 3.
Ellery, and Van.
Yeah, so, one of them has to be the murderer, I guess, unless,
well, you were
Nakamura is,
last time.
Unless Nakamura is tweaking their geek. We're treated with this pretty map. I have done some extensive criminology, pathology, pathological liar, gaslighter, pro-manipulator, on this, that 2 people came from the staircase. First, presumably LaRue. Second, presumably the murderer, whacked him with a candlestick in the garden. And then the third is him leaving, because 2 enter from the staircase and then 1 leaves.
Oh, okay.
And then, of course, you have 3 entering and 3 exiting, being Poe, LaRue, and Van. The intriguing thing, though, is that we're also treated to a map of the island back at the start of the book.
Okay.
And if you'll notice, right here, or somewhere, that staircase leads to a cliff of jagged rocks and shit. So where did the murderer go? Because he should have been just past that staircase. There's nowhere to go. And there's no footprints leading anywhere else.
That's the most logical conclusion we can come to, given the circumstances, is that the murderer is someone besides us. We might not be able to leave the island, but there are plenty of ways for someone from outside to come to the island. There's also no need to suggest silly ideas like someone swimming in the sea. The murderer used a boat.
Back when Mr. Alcoholic Carr was murdered, we all wondered, how on earth did we know that we were going to kill Carr? Well, it was very simple. In a house that is all themed Decagon, 10-sided everything, the mug that Carr drank from had 11 sides, not 10. But because humans don't have very good perception and we're not very smart or keen, no one could tell it had 11 sides instead of 10.
Damn. Okay, we have our helper.
He's the real detective. Poe has access and knowledge about poisons. Ellery is an elitist and has a huge ego. And then Van, I guess, is basically Batman.
What?
Because his parents were murdered by robbers, and so they're like, oh, you know, you went through this.
As a child?
Yeah. So, like, well, you know, you're psychologically unwell after that.
I feel like Ellery is the one who keeps saying that it's someone from outside the island.
Yeah, Ellery is really on that. Oh, it could be this person, it could be that person, Nakamura. Ellery and I are, like, kind of on the same wavelength of it being Nakamura, but I'm starting to doubt that. And then here, on this page, we got Ellery handing out a very hard accusation.
What?
He goes, "It was Nakamura Seiji who committed the murders that happened here on the island 6 months ago. He burned someone to serve as his body double, either the missing gardener or someone else of similar age and build to the same blood type. Nakamura Seiji is still alive, and now he is acting out his revenge for his daughter."
He's really on this point.
He really is, bro.
He's really trying to be like, it's this guy. He's too deep in the mystery sauce.
And then as he's busy accusing a presumable dead man, Poe up and dies.
Oh.
Yeah. He was smoking a cigarette. Yeah.
And what? The cigarette is poison?
Yeah. He took one puff and cooked.
Everything in this damn house is poison.
There's a secret room in the house.
Oh my god.
Bro, why can this guy build one house without a secret room? Guess what the key is? Guess what the key to the secret room is? A damn 11-sided cup. What does this guy do? I need an 11-sided cup to open this room. You got one?
We should come up with a theory, because I don't know at what point in this book we're going to have to stop reading. Because now there's only 2 people left.
And it's gotta be one of those.
It's either one of them or someone else. Obviously.
Why is Van always sick?
Let's start with the theory that you've been pushing a little bit ago at the start of the video with Nakamura. I don't think it works because I don't think he cares about his daughter, and that would be his motive.
He technically couldn't have shown up at her, like, funeral.
Also, I really feel like he's not alive in the first place. And I feel like the motive for whoever is killing these people has to be Chiori, like, has to be his daughter.
Because they, like,
that's the
all
thing that,
contributed to her death.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing that connects them all.
So it's either gotta be, like, her uncle or someone who's, like, in love with her.
Is it Ellery? Is it Van?
I don't think it's Ellery.
Someone off-brand, off the island? Van is just along
Van's
for the
kind of
ride.
just there. I don't like his presence. He's kind of creepy.
What does Dwight say?
He's sick. The person you most medium suspect is the killer. Van's really giving me, like, icky vibes, dude. Like, he's just kind of there. He doesn't really say much. He's kind of, like, a creepy presence, almost. Like, you know, he's kind of anonymous, kind of... Like, why is he there? And his uncle owns the island.
That is true.
And he was there before all of them. And then also, like, why is he sick? Is he the one boating around the island? You know, is he constantly going for a swim?
Open the room, or whatever, the secret room with the 11-sided cup. Ellery and Van go down. Ellery is very trusting, because, like, he goes down first and just lets Van go behind him in the dark. Like, they're the only 2 people on the island, apparently.
So then, would Ellery be the murderer? Because if he knew he was the murderer, then he wouldn't have an issue.
True. They open a door. Where does this lead? What a horrible smell. It was the smell of decayed flesh.
Someone's dead down there.
The flashlight swept over the dirty concrete floor. It fell on... a lump of flesh of a nauseating color. Dark, empty eye sockets. It was unquestionably the half-decomposed corpse of a human being. Okay, so it's either the gardener from the murders...
Of the dead body?
Yeah, or it's Nakamura himself.
Either it has to be the gardener in there decomposing, which means Nakamura died in the fire, or the gardener died in the fire and Nakamura's body is in there decomposing for...
Or it's some rando.
I don't think it's...
I know. Just cuts from the body to a sharp noise came from somewhere inside the building. The Decagon house was on fire. A roar rumbled through the night sky. The gigantic blaze burned on furiously.
So one of them had to burn down the house. Wait. You know how there was the, like, the plaques for, like, first victim and shit?
Yeah. Oh, wait.
How'd they get there? I'm still thinking it was brought to the island early. And Van was on the island early.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't like about that he was on the island early.
Like, why was he on before them?
I don't like the people who are, like, always
Who
there.
brought him over?
Next chapter, Morisu, the guy that you mentioned, that also got the letter, picks up the phone. Someone's called him to say the Decagon house has gone up in flames. And so he calls Kawaminami, and then Shimada finds out as well that the whole thing has gone up in flames. We have the police saying, returning to a discussion with the medical examiner who is inspecting a body burnt beyond recognition. This one is a male of small build. Some deep lacerations on the back of his head could have been from a blow from a blunt instrument. This one was probably also a male. It also appears this was the source of the fire. Seems like kerosene was poured all around the room and then lit. Our corpse here seems to have poured kerosene over himself too.
This
okay,
literally,
but the thing is, they only have 2 burnt dead bodies, and like,
which means somebody had to escape.
Shimada, Morisu, and Kawaminami are talking to the inspector, and they finally tell the police that they got those disturbing letters from Nakamura in the start, because remember, they never actually went to the real police. And then they have to explain their whole murder mystery club. The remaining person actually died in the fire, burnt to death, but that one appears to be suicide. He had doused himself in kerosene, and the fire probably also started in his room. His name was Matsuura. Okay, so we don't know the names. Here's the thing, we know the real names of Kawaminami and Morisu on the island, but we don't know the real names of all the people who have detective nicknames on
We don't know who Morisu is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We only know his real name.
Oh.
We don't know his detective name, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Okay. So then they explained the murder mystery club group, the police, and then all those who went to Tsunojima were members with nicknames like that. And Shimada is like, oh, Kawaminami, did you also have a strange name like that when you were in the club? And he was like, yeah, it's a bit embarrassing. I was Arthur Conan Doyle. I was Doyle. And then the inspector's like, oh, well then I guess that Morisu here is Maurice Leblanc. And Morisu says no. A self-deprecating smile appeared on his lips for a brief moment. Then, with downcast eyes and a low voice, he answered, I'm Van. Okay, yeah, the next chapter we have him being like, oh, she was killed by them. She was killed. If only I had been at her side to the end. Okay, so he took a motorbike to the woods near the shore. He covered it up, and then he set up a boat he had hidden and changed into a wetsuit. Why he was in such a bad state of health, he had not drunk any water since the day before. Okay. He landed on the rocky area.
Yeah.
He needed to hide the boat there. He folded it up. How do you fold a fucking boat?
Who's got a foldable boat?
And together with the air cylinder and the outboard motor, and then sealed it in a plastic bag. He then placed the package underwater between the rocks. And he made his way to the Decagon house. He took the room to the left of the entrance, a room with water damage and no furniture. So that's why he's ill. He's sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Shimada comes over to him and he starts to say, you know, some sus things. And then, you know how at the start of the novel there was like the prologue where the person, it was Van, throws a bottle
with his confession.
Sits down at the end of the book and the bottle comes back to him.
Oh, jeez.
Like with the tide. And then Shimada has walked away because he doesn't really have any concrete proof, but Van at this point has been started, like he's being eaten by guilt, essentially. And so he sees like a kid walking on the shore and he's like, hey, could you do me a favor and could you give this bottle to the man over there? So like he gives Shimada his confession letter.
Damn, so Shimada doesn't even figure it out. He just straight up folds.
No, he does figure it out, but
there's no, and oh my goodness, he could have gotten away with it, but he just decided to fold. That was a good one though. I enjoyed that one, and I do like this author because there's no cheap endings, and like,
yeah, I appreciate that.
They're a little confusing, but they're definitely solvable.
I like that even when you feel like you've solved who the murderer is, there's always another twist. I feel like I enjoyed Millhouse better though.
Yeah, Millhouse was definitely better. I liked the twist in that a lot more. I'd give this like a 7.5 out of 10. And then maybe like an 8 for a read.
That's the Decagon House Murders.
I think for the next murder mystery, we need a different author.
Yes, comment down below who you would like to see us try.
At some point, not anytime soon, because I don't have time, but I think we should try and figure out that really hard one that everyone kept suggesting.
The Kane's Jawbone.
Kane's Jawbone. I still don't understand how it works fully, but I think we could definitely crack that.
We will see you when we see you. In the meantime, don't do any crime.
We'll get you.
Because we'll get you.
We'll get you. This is why don't you get my feet, bro? This is not Foot Finder, dog. You cannot blur that shit. He has made advances on both Agasa. He's made advances on both Agasa. He has made advances on both. You know, when I was in like 2nd grade or something, Emma and her 7th grade friends would make fun of me because I couldn't say 3.
How can you
And that-
say 3?
I used to say free. And he'd be like, no, 3. No, 3. And I'd be like, free, that's what I'm saying free. And that is burned into my memory forever.
I'm sorry about that.
Those are the 2 timelines.
What?
What? What?
The holes written on the ceiling.
Yeah, okay. No, but I've actually had spiders drop down.
Then he goes through newspaper clippings and finds out, oh shit, this guy was involved in a wild-ass murder on...
What?
What's the island?
Who? Who was involved?
Nakamura.
Oh, Tsunojima.
On Tsunojima. And he finds out through calling one of their moms.
You're giving too much info. You're giving too much info.
Am I?
I don't think they need this. What are you trying to say?
What could it be? I wonder. Hopefully it's not a body part.
Mug right now.
Fuck.
Okay, Mom really likes that mug.
Kawanami has received this letter saying,